Air way too early for the fake. This that real game for real bros. No decaf, no cap. Welcome to Shogun Bros, no decaf. Live every weekday, 6:30 in the morning, Central Time. Did you hear what I said? Central Time. We talk dogs, bloodline building to yard work, from stud talk to the truth behind the pups. This ain't no highlight reel. It's how you really build legacy. Shogun Bros, no decaf. Pull up, pull up, handle yours. This ain't just content. It's culture. Welcome to the Cookout with Toyo, where family vibes meet front porch truth. No scripts, no filters, just heart, heat, and hot plates. Ooh. Step up with elevated perspective, with elevated game for grown men and women building mind, spirit, and vision. And men at work with pimps over simps. Choice. Real convos, no cap, all purpose for the men behind the mission. 3 shows, 1 network, all gas, no decaf. Put no creamer in my man. Look, Shogun Unlimited, man. Press play and get man. Come on, press play, press play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We in here. Yep. So today we're going to talk about why some APBTs quit and some don't, and break it down a little bit. I've had really good workers, and then I've had some that just they didn't tools, but if you put them on an animal, they were alive and well. You know what I mean? But they just didn't care for the tools. That ain't the end of the world for me. You know what I mean? If they don't care for the tools, I guess. Because some dogs just don't. They're just straight down to business. And like once you introduce business to them, the tools kind of they're like But so like moving forward, that's why I started implementing the tools a little later in life. You know what I mean? I show them a couple times when they're young, but I don't make it a big deal. And then once they get older, I push it harder and harder, and that way they don't get mentally fatigued on something at a young age. Because if you mentally fatigue something, then it's hard to recover from that. You got to do a lot of positive building and stuff like that, and to build up their drive back again. So let's see. Why some APBTs quit while others keep going. We need to break this down scientifically, historically, and behaviorally. High versus low drive APBTs. Why some quit and others keep going. Defining drive and mental resilience. Drive refers to a dog's instinctual motivation to pursue on action, whether it's prey drive, fight drive, or work drive. Yeah, so like building drives is there's certain things you can do that'll help you build their drives. Like I do a lot of like back tie work whenever I'm messing with them, flirt pulling them and stuff. They're back tied to something always. So like my dogs are pretty high prey driven, but like at the same time they're never just like they're rarely ever just let loose onto something. So they've always got back tie. They're always pinned up. They're ready to go. You know what I mean? I was actually, when I was writing this, my daughter said, "What's drive?" You know, she's only 6. And I said, that's like, you know how like when you're flirt polling the dog? She said, yeah. I said, them wanting to chase that is drive, them wanting to pursue what you're doing. And she was like, that makes sense. I was like, all right. Like breaking down drive to her. And then she was on the dog yard yesterday and she had a big stick in her hand and she ran and Haywood like barked because he wanted it. And I was like, see, don't do that. That you're making him drive over that stuff. He wants that stick. He ain't ever going to bother her, but he wants that stick. So like you only want him to do that when you're using certain tools. And she was like, okay, that makes sense. Like she says that a lot. That makes sense. Like she'll you can tell she mentally thinks about something and then it'll just like, okay, it resonates with her. After I told her what drive mean yesterday, she'll never forget that. That's just who she is. So mental resilience is the ability to continue despite difficulty, whether pain, exhaustion, or physical pressure. So yeah, mental resilience and gameness, they're very close, but there's one thing that, makes gameness different than mental resilience. So like building a dog's mental resilience up is like letting them win a little, but not a lot, ever so often, leaving them with leaving them wanting more always when you're in the early stages of training and some of these stuff. Like keep, you might not leave them wanting more, but like just training and bonding and building drives and all that stuff, you got to leave them wanting more every time, and that way when you get them out later, they're gonna be like, oh shit, I remember that, I need to get that. So a game dog isn't just high drive, it has the mental will to endure regardless of circumstances. This is where the difference between quitting and continuing lies. Yeah, and it's whether or not they just want to keep going, whether they have the mind to keep going. So like building their mind up, there's lots and lots of things you can do to build their mind up. Praise, setting them up in situations where you never get mad at them ever. You talk about, like, people talks about their bond and stuff with dogs. Like, I'm never mad at my dogs. My dogs don't even, when I get mad, they are like, uh-oh. And you can tell because I'm rarely ever, like, I've rarely ever had to get mad with them. You know what I mean? So, like, even if they jump on me or any of that stuff, like, I don't care. I let them do some of that shit. When I tell them to sit, they'll still sit. So, like, them being kind of sporadic and spunky, that's what I think they should be. When you go to taking that away from them, that's hard to you can't give that back. That's just something that naturally they carry, and once you take it away, it's very hard to give it back. It might take a lot of time of you just doing like drive building exercises without any stay like restraint. So the genetic foundation of drive and gameness. Drive is inheritable, but it's complex. It's shaped by genetic, dominant, and recessive factors. Neurochemistry and early development. The APBT bloodlines influence drive intensity. Some are naturally high-strung, while others are calmer but still deep game. Yeah, and like just because a dog don't show its like crazy side, you know what I mean, does not mean it's any less of a dog. That's why I don't really care too much. I kept that crime dog for a while, right? And he would not work no type of nothing. He will not do shit for me. Period. I didn't raise him. I didn't, you know what I mean? So like, but he will not do nothing for me. And I don't care. I still loved on him, hung out with him, would walk him down the road and stuff. Other than that, but like he was so good, you know what I mean? And then my buddy gets him back, and like a few months later, hell, he killed 2 coyotes out in near his apartment. So like, just because he wouldn't do none of them things, you know what I mean, that didn't make him any lesser of a dog to me. It made me realize, because I had his daughter Banana, and Banana would do anything I wanted her to do. So like, it was just I didn't raise him, Throwback kind of experienced a little bit of that out of Jarvis. Like there was a couple things that he wouldn't do, you know what I mean? There's things that he wouldn't do for me or Throwback that he would do for Lester. So it's just, some of it's just that bond in the building. So key bloodlines and expression. So Jeep, Red Boy, they're usually high drive, strong gameness, sharp-witted, and mental endurance. Bolio and Tombstone, known for calm intelligence and deep gameness, but not overly high-strung. Chinaman and Frisco stuff. Extreme prey drive, high energy, tough, and selective on mental resilience. Eli dogs can be highly game, but some strains have explosive drive that, which termed barnstormer. Some dogs, like when you're working them and stuff, you got to think about the style of the dog, and that's why putting them on animals and stuff is very important. It'll their time clock of when to quit. Some of them are based on their bloodlines, but like there's certain bloodlines that back in the day people would say they just had a time clock. 30 minutes, you ain't seeing nothing more. You know what I mean? 15 minutes, you ain't seeing nothing more. They're barnstormers. There's nothing wrong with that. Barnstorming in today's world has kind of become a hate term, you know what I mean? Oh, he's a barnstormer. But like, it was just a term to describe how it was a way for men to describe how long their dog was going to go to each other. You know what I mean? Or how much they're going to put into it, and for a certain extent. So that's really the only reason that it didn't get invented to be a hate term. It was just a term that described the dog's willingness to go for how long. So, genetic bottlenecking risk. Line breeding too tightly for only drive can result in short bursts of intensity, but low endurance. Lack of genetic diversity can lead to weak nerves, a dog that starts strong but mentally collapses under sustained stress. Yeah, so like sometimes, like I say, they're breeding. People buy dogs from certain people and be like, well, I never got one that was good. Or you buying, are they selling you a dog that like, you got to be clear with these people what you want, you know what I mean? Because me, like, I can go to somewhere and buy a dog and I might be happy with it, but then somebody else might go and they were looking for something totally different. They might not be happy with it. So, like, whenever we're getting dogs from people, we got to explain what kind of stuff we're doing with them. Because if you plan on running for 3-4 hours and I sell you a barnstorming dog, not saying, you know, my dogs are barnstormers, but I'm just saying if I sell you a barnstorming dog and you're wanting to go run for 3 hours with it, well, hell, you might have to carry that dog back. You know what I mean? So I didn't know what you were going to do, so I accidentally set you up for failure with that. You're in the hands of somebody that, you know, is going to do something different with it. So, like, we got to know what we're going to do, you know, necessarily. And sometimes you'll get a dog and not know that you're going to start running for 3 hours a day. You might just pick that up with them. That might have been your bonding thing. And depending on what the dog does and how long it's willing to go will determine whether or not that's the task y'all are going to do together. And especially, so like making a break and keeping a dog, right? So like if you get one and you tell me you're going to run for 3 hours with it and I sell you one and it can't do it, then, you know, that you might could get rid of that dog because of that, because I told you you're going to get this, you know. But then if I sell you a dog and you pick it up 6 months, 8 months later, I'm going to start running for 3 hours a day. But I know my dogs are 45-minute and you're done. You know what I mean? Then I'm like, So like sometimes it's just people knowing their blood for longer periods of time can tell you and set you up for success, because they kind of already have a general idea of what them dogs will work, what the ancestors used to do, all that type of stuff. So those are important steps to getting the right dog in your hands to make it not quit. You know what I mean? To literally make it to get one that won't quit for you under stress, you know, because people, they've been tested, and I don't mean the old school way, I just mean tested through everyday life doing things. So whenever they're testing these dogs, they write this stuff down, they keep track of it, and then they can show you actual record proof of what's going on. I have a filing cabinet at my granny's slapped full of dog shit, just slapped full of everything, every papers. I have a folder here, and whenever it gets full, I just take it and put it in my filing cabinet at my granny until my office gets done. I'm remodeling my office, so just knowing some of this stuff to help people that are going to get your dog might a whole lot, you know. That can make or break your success. You knowing your dogs can make you successful in the future. So, neurochemistry, how the brain controls quitting versus performance. A lot of it is neurochemistry, like the encouragement you've put into it, the work ethic you've taught them to have throughout their life. You know what I mean? Just because my dogs don't get on the mill at a young age, don't mean they're not like flirt poling, tug of war, you know, stuff like that. Letting them get smaller game like squirrels and stuff after they have their rabies shot, certain things like that, and them having to fight something that's like alive like a squirrel, that, I mean, it's not just going to stop until they hurt it enough to make it stop. So that can help. Putting them on things that takes a longer time clock throughout their maturing, you can find where their true time clock is in their head. And some dogs, this is one thing about it, some dogs might quit in 20 minutes today and 3 hours tomorrow, and then 5 hours the next day, and then 20 minutes the next day. So like, it's just, yes, we have done a lot of figuring out and stuff, but there's still some unknown to all of these variables. So dopamine system. High drive APBTs produce more dopamine under stress, reinforcing determination. So that's the chemical that's keeping them going. They're craving on that shit. They feel it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with us. That's what keeps us doing things. We get the dopamine from it. It's a reward, to our body. Dopamine is the biggest reward we can have. So like, it's a reward to our body, so we just keep doing it. You know what I mean? That's why I play guitar. As I'm sitting here playing guitar, dopamine in my head is being released, and it's just it's a calming feeling. It's what makes you happy. So low drive dogs experience a dopamine crash, leading to quitting behaviors. Yeah, so like dopamine, once they get like that initial burst of wow, we're doing this, and it kind of goes away, and they start feeling that pain in their ribs or whatever, like as they start working, they have dopamine in their system because of their neurochemistry, they won't keep going. I've seen it firsthand with different dogs. That's why, like, I've owned many, many, many different bloodlines, I've owned a couple different breeds, and like I've seen it throughout all. It's not just something the American Pit Bull Terrier has. If they don't have enough neurochemistry to keep their body going through stress, then they're just not going to do it. It's just not in them. That's why when old guys used to say, oh, it's just in him to do that, that's what they meant. So pain tolerance. Game dogs naturally suppress pain perception through adrenaline and endorphins. So like adrenaline and endorphins, the adrenaline is what keeps them pushing through the pain. They're just doing it, they're happy doing it. The dopamine's coming in, the adrenaline's coming in. Those are two chemicals that makes your body like, hell yeah, they're better than, we don't even really have drugs that can mimic what they do that I know of, because that's just the best thing for our body. So, low drive dogs have lower thresholds, meaning stress signals trigger disengagement faster. And it's because they don't feel successful or like they're thriving under this task. So they'll kind of be like, I've not seen many game dogs just like in today's world doing things that we do with them. I've not seen many just quit. Like it's say I put them on the mill and they run for a few minutes and then just lay down. I've not seen that. I've not seen them quit on the jolly ball like that. I have seen them try to lay down using the jolly ball, and that's when you got to move it. That's why I say it's best to hook them to a leash. It's because you can make it kind of run from them. It'll make them keep prey driving on it, and it'll keep them going. So, cortisol regulation, the stress hormone. Dogs with unstable cortisol responses are the game dogs. So cortisol, like as their body's releasing cortisol, it's literally through all these chemicals I'm talking about. It's the combination of what makes this dog not quit faster than any other dog. They're all high levels of each one of these things within our breed. So, balanced regulation allows deep game dogs to maintain pressure endurance. So like when a deep game dog, they thrive on the pressure. They thrive on wanting problems and tasks to solve and things to do, you know what I mean? So like giving them certain things, it really makes them like do really good. Like I've took and put the jolly ball, I got like a half a blue barrel and I've put it down in there, and I've made them get it out of there and all kinds of shit in different ways. I've even stuck the lid on there and like made them get it out of there with the lid on it. Like, you want to play with it, go get it. You know what I mean? And some dogs will, and then some dogs like I've seen where they can't get the lid off, so they're like, well, damn, and they quit. There's other animals that have all these factors to them. You know what I mean? Like small game, big game. It's all just a chemical response within their brain. So let's see. Early conditioning and environmental influence. How a pup is raised directly affects drive and longevity. Yeah, like if you don't give them like I say, I don't mess with my dogs a lot at a young age. I do mess with them, like playing with them, but I don't like push them. to the point of almost trying to quit. Not at a young age, because it can be talked about, but a lot of people in today's world are training dogs to quit. You know what I mean? And they don't even realize that's what they're doing. They are training dogs to quit. And like, just if you can train a dog to keep going through certain things, you can train a dog to quit. So it's in the situations on them at the right time. The longer you do this, you start to realize there's a timeline that they should hit. Like in my area, we'll say, okay, boys, they're in high school, right? They're in elementary school. They hit middle school. Most of them start playing football or they start wrestling. Well, there's a milestone. Well, when they're in about the 8th grade, they start weights class. You can start it earlier, but I've noticed most of them started around this time. This is a when you should. They start weights class in like the 8th grade. So they're doing football, wrestling, and weights class. Then they go to high school. They keep up all that shit. And throughout, like, the coaches, they'll teach them to do different drills and stuff. That way they're not burnt out on certain things. They wrestle hands-on a lot more in high school than, like, working out from what I've seen. So, like, training these boys just to keep going. So then when they get 16, they go and get their license and they drive. And then, you know what I mean, they go to prom, then they go, you know what I mean? They hit all these milestones that you should in a lifetime. So, like, the Pit Bull Terrier has that same kind of category, but broke down a little different, you know what I mean? You should train them to do obedience. Like, that's really what I work on throughout the first year of their life. They're going to know to sit, they're going to know to do all this stuff, stand there while I'm spraying them and chemicaling them, and not chemical, but like spraying them with fly spray and all that shit. That's really more of an important thing to me. I want them to sit, I want them to stay, I want them to learn to wait when I feed them until I tell them to go. You know what I mean? Because I don't like to be putting food in a bowl and the dog come up and knock the bowl over and knock it out of your hands or none of that shit. I want them to sit and wait. So they all naturally do, because I've been doing it for so long. I've just been keeping up this same routine that I figured out, hey, at this age, they can do this. Like, say I introduced my pups to the email at probably 18 to 20 weeks, right? One time. And then I might show them it again at like 8 months, and just for a few minutes, 2-3 minute set. And then I'll, oh, good, and rub them down and show them what a rub down is. And then when they hit a year old, they might do 4 sets of 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And then I'll take them off and rub them down and work them in 2 days. You know what I mean? I can tell they still want to go more, but just because they want to keep going, that's when you'll start training dogs to quit, especially at a young age. When they're more mature, they're wanting to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, and that quit ain't in them as much. You've not let them even think about that factor. When I'm running them on the email, I started out doing a 2 minute set with 3 minute breaks, and I did 4 of them in a row. And then I switch it up. I do a 2 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, a 4 minute, you know what I mean? And jump it up. Like each one. So they never associate a time clock in their head whatsoever. They don't know what a minute is. They don't know what 3 minutes is. All they know is keep going till it's done. And they're craving that. They're craving that rub down, that yeah, you know, good job. That's what they're craving. That's why they'll keep going. Like, you're not going to see them just bow up and stop on the mill while it's going. They will not do that. If you're seeing that, you broke it to them too young. So, early stimulation exercises can build stress tolerance, mimicking what natural game dogs have instinctively. Yep. So, like, the early stimulation exercises are putting them on the mill at a young age, giving them that release of these chemicals into their body, and then don't show it to them till a little later. You know what I mean? And instinctively, their body will crave that type of stuff. They get that same release through flirt poling, through the ball. If I throw the ball for like young puppies, that's something I like to do. I want that test. Not only will they go and get it 300 times, but will they bring it to me, or are they stingy? Are they a little possessive? Are they territorial? Like, don't come over to my area with my ball because I'm going to go and back up with it or something. Like, it can tell. There's a lot of ways you can read different scenarios to tell you different factors on these dogs. So, common environmental mistakes that we can drive. Overprotecting pups, preventing early exposure to stressors. Yeah, so like, in my opinion, working the flirt pole on the hill up here is 10 times harder than putting them on that mill. So like, by me doing that, when they hit a year old, that mill, it ain't even hard work for them for the first 20 minutes. It ain't even stressing them. So pushing too hard, too fast, leading to fear-based quitting. And fear-based quitting is the worst thing because it is hard to break something of its fears. That's why, like, say if you work them on the mill too young and they do bow up and they hit the back of the wall and stuff, you can create them to have fear of the tools at too young of an age. That's why you got to wait to a certain point to put them on certain things. And like, if you're cautious, if you're careful, you ain't gotta do none of this. So if you're cautious, you're careful, you've been doing it for a long time, you might get to where you can implement some of these things a little sooner than other people. But if you're new at stuff, you should always kind of be patient. Don't get too mad, because when you're working them on some of these things, they might not do it the first time. Just let's get them to show the first initial reaction, tell them good, put it down, go do something else with them, and come back to it later that day. You know what I mean? Like, that way they're like, okay, he told me good the last time I did this, so, and they might go to doing it immediately. They might do the reaction you had to wait 10 minutes to get immediately. So like, just stay calm, don't get stressed out. You know what I mean? It's they're learning just like you're learning. So it's just we're all living life for the first time. You know what I mean? Just because some of us have done these things 100 times, with each individual, you're still living life the first time. So, poor diet affecting neurochemistry and energy metabolism. So, like, if they got too high of a fat diet with not enough, or high of a protein diet with not enough fat, they can lack the energy, like the gas in the tank that they need to keep going through things. And their nutrition is so important to their neurochemistry, because do you want your dogs going hungry, or do you want them stomach aches all the time? Like, a dog with a stomach ache all the time, he's not going to have the same work drive as a dog that's been peak its whole life. So certain things like this, did a dog get sick at a young age? You might have a dog that quits things quite a bit, but you got to think, or might not even have that willingness to work like the other dogs do. That dog at a really influential time in his life felt like shit for the whole part of it until he was, certain age. That can affect his neurochemistry, whether or not he wants to just work and do this shit. That don't mean if you put him on a hog, he's going to be a piece of shit. He might only do it when he might need that extra bit of that hog squealing and kicking around and feeling it fight him to release all these chemicals to override his raising. You know what I mean? So certain things like that is very important. But just keeping in mind, were they sick at a young age? Did you get them and they were slap full of worms? They're like, if people starts paying attention, dogs that are slap full of worms will have a little bit lower of a work drive than dogs that didn't at an older age. It's just part of it. So, the psychology of quitting versus pushing forward. Dogs quit when their mind overrides drive, meaning stress, exhaustion, or uncertainty breaks their willpower. Yeah, so like their mind, if they get too in their head, kind of like if you're not used to running around a track, right, and you get to running and your ribs starts hurting, and about another 1,200 feet, you're like, man, like almost wanting to quit just because of that. If you push through that, eventually that pain will kind of ease off and you can keep going. The cortisol, all that, the adrenaline will start going in your body. There's some dogs that their body starts releasing that instantly, and sometimes it takes the stress to make it release, is the best way to put it. So, quitters show signs like hesitation, delayed reaction time, loss of forward engagement. Yeah, so like, if you're flirting them and they don't want to chase it, that's what I mean by training dogs to quit. If you're pulling them off chain at a young age and they can just run off, you know what I mean? That's training them that they can just quit whenever they want to. That's why all my dogs are tethered when I'm flirt pulling them at a young age, because you can't just run off. Your mind your mind might disengage from it for a second, but you realize you can't go nowhere. And I'm over here making noises and shit, and they go back at it. Make it like sound like I do that smoochy, squilly noise because it sounds like an animal screaming. So like, and they'll go right back at it. So like, at a young age, they might have almost had that instinct to quit. That don't mean they're a quitter. You know what I'm saying? That's just natural psychology of young dogs. That, oh, I'm tired of doing this, so I can run over here. And if they can, they will. So I take that option away from them. Deep game dogs don't reconsider the challenge. They react instinctively without second guessing. So they're on it, like there the whole time. And through training them at a young age, like don't allow them to run off, don't do this. And they understand that to where when they're doing these things, their body starts releasing these chemicals faster and faster and faster, because it's almost like the Pavlov's training where they hear the bell and it triggers a response. They're doing this action, and the more they do this action, it triggers that chemical response in their body. So 3 key traits that separate game dogs from quitters. Pressure decision making. Game dogs don't, pressure decision making. Game dogs don't hesitate, even under extreme stress, like heat, hungry. Like some dogs, sometimes I'll feed my dogs like when they're at an older age to just see how good I did at building that. I'll feed them, and then I'll try to work them and see what they'll do. You know, are they going to work with a full stomach the same way they do without one? Most of my dogs will. I can't really name one that just won't do nothing when it's full. Even Mason, I can feed him and he'll go out there and start digging right now. So adaptability under duress. Game dogs adjust their tactics while low drive dogs mentally collapse. Yeah, they are like, oh, they're just, it gets too much, it gets too overwhelming. Dogs that are kept confined a lot at a young age, like in a small area, they might be more prone to that because of anxiety and stress. You know what I mean? Stress and anxiety they might not thrive on it because of that. It might trigger well, I'm, here alone, all this type of reaction. Endurance beyond physical limitations. A game dog keeps going even when exhausted, while a non-game dog disengages when it reaches fatigue. And this is so some of this, like, gameness of the new era is a little different than gameness of the old era. So some of this it ain't necessarily apply, but a lot of it does, when, like, that ain't, just because a dog tires out don't mean that that's not a game dog. Gameness is only determined one way, but at the same time, there is these telltale signs at a young age. When they start doing some of these things, you can tell ahead of time, no, that dog's going to quit. It's already done things that are quitter behavior. You just didn't notice it. You didn't recognize it. And that's important. So, like, in today's world, we don't get to see a lot. And so it's when they start doing them signs, you don't even realize it. So, applications in hunting, catch work, and high-stress roles. Hunting performance. Game dogs maintain drive even when fatigued or injured. Yeah, they'll keep going. They know they want to get their prey, and that's it. So low-drive dogs may engage but won't sustain intensity for long periods. And a low-drive dog and a barnstorming dog are two totally different things. You know what I mean? A low-drive dog, it won't have a time clock. It might stop in 5 minutes right now. It might stop in 15 minutes tomorrow. You know what I mean? It don't necessarily have a time clock. A barnstormer has a time clock. They're going to go for damn near the same amount of time every time, and they're done. That doesn't mean they're low driven. They're just a barnstormer. There's certain types of behaviors that, back these things up. That's why those terms were invented. Or they just call it the word barnstormer. If they were low drive dogs, then they would just call them low drive dogs. So catch work. True catch dogs need deep drive and adaptability. Low drive dogs struggle when the challenge escalates. Like, they get tired, they get into deep water, they get, pushed up against a barbed wire fence. The hog might try to drive your dog sideways into a barbed wire fence. They might not have the mind that, oh, this is a barbed wire fence, I'm going to push them into it, but that is what they might do. So, real world application beyond working roles. Rescue dogs, scent work, and sport competitions. High drive APBTs excel when mental resilience is prioritized in training. And like, yes, we want to. That's why when I was bringing up conditioning, it was conditioning the mind and the body of the APBT. And the mind comes first. If you notice how I put that, the mind and the body of the APBT. The mind comes first, always. It don't make a fuck what that dog looks like, as long as you're teaching it these non-quitting behaviors, you know what I'm saying, at a young age. So like, it will come later, like the body, the way it looks. After you start implementing some of these mental things, you can build the work up more and more and more, and start stacking more work on them, and it will create that non-quitting behavior. You know what I mean? There's lots of people that are going to disagree and say you can't teach a dog not to quit, but at the same time, there's men that can. You know what I mean? No, we're all men, and we all can't do the same thing other men can do. I can't drive. You know what I mean? Dre was talking about get a license the other day. I can't drive, so like he can do things that I can't do. You know, I'll never know what it feels like to throw my dogs in the truck and me jump in there and fucking go to the motel by myself, and you know what I mean? I'll never know what that feels like. I always have to go with somebody. So like certain things, it's just you got to implement these lifestyles. That way your dog's not just like, you raise this dog for 6 weeks or 6 months being a chiller, and then all of a sudden we're going to start working every single day because it's hot and warm and I feel like working you every day now. And you don't even think about it's mental, where you've put it at mentally, because say you got a puppy at the beginning of winter and it was freezing and you didn't get to do as much with it. That dog might already have a lower working ability, but don't mean you can't take it, implement all these training things, and build its working drive up. So here's some final takeaways. Why some quit and others don't. Gameness, mental endurance, drive, stability. It's more than just intensity. Dogs that quit usually suffer from neurological limitations, poor breeding, selection, or weak conditioning. Any of them factors, or all of the above, can make a dog quit or not. It'll make or break whether a dog's going to just keep going. So deep game dogs think differently. Their psychology is built to endure stress without hesitation. They thrive on it. They crave it. So bloodlines matter, but environmental refines whether a pup reaches its full drive potential. So the bloodline does matter, but I've gotten dogs of all ages and all stages, and being able to have my hand in there to know the full story really can make it or break it for me, because like I got two pups from two different people as of right now, and both of them are really good. They're still young. I'm just implementing my usual things at a young age. But when they hit a year old, Loretta, she's probably like 7-8 months or something now. I don't even know exactly. I have to ask her birthday. But so she'll be starting. She's already ran the mill once or twice. That a lot more. I've already got her on the flirt pole. She shows really good traits as far as that goes. So like just implementing it and then directing it is the two major problems with people that just gets in and tries to do these things too hard, too fast. You know, like say a carpet mill. If you're used to running your dog on a slap mill, you put them on a carpet mill. That same 30 minutes will kill a dog on a carpet mill. You know, if they've never done it before, they'll quit every time you put them on that thing. They ain't even gonna run it after you do it one time like that. You can only run them for like 3 minutes at first, and and you should pull them. Yes, they will go more, but you should only run them at like 3-4 minutes at first, and rub them down. Good dog, you know, and then maybe take them and walk them. They're still building that mental. All them chemicals in their brain is still going, you know, after they got that initial first go. Then say when you get back, you might can put them on it for another 2 minutes. Get them off. Good job. Kind of rub them down a little bit. I always rub them down, even if they don't burn or hurt, like work themselves enough to have a lactic acid buildup. I still rub them down because I want them used to the fact of me rubbing their legs real hard, me picking their back legs up and straightening their body out and stretching them like that, their ligaments. So I want them used to that. So by doing certain things like this, but yeah, so like building some of these things it's just, you got to think about the bigger picture more than what we're doing right this second right now, because if you only think about what we're doing right this second right now, you could burn them out for what you're going to do tomorrow and not even realize it. Like, we'll use an example, right? Jarvis, he had a horrible work ethic, not a great work ethic for Daniel, but he got him from Lester. He was kind of fat. He's got a mature old dog. He took him down there and thought he could work him like Kaiser. Kaiser had been worked his whole entire life. So, like, he realized he burned him out. So he let him sit for a little while. And then we kind of started talking about this stuff, and he started implementing some of these things we were talking about slowly, the rubbing them down, the conditioning their mind to keep going for him. And Jarvis's work ethic was really good by the time I got it back. Where he's worked for me his whole life, Jarvis, he would have been fine, you know what I mean? Some of it's the handling. Like their willingness to go for that specific handler or not. What bond do they have with you? Because if they're bonded to you and you're talking to them, that right there is what they crave. That can keep them going. That good job in the action can make them, feel like they're really, not only are they releasing all these chemicals into their body, but also they're feeling this physical reaction, and you're giving them a verbal reaction, you know what I mean? A praise, congratulations, whatever you want to call it. So, like, pushing these dogs forward is a step-by-step process. You should take a piece of paper and write out all the things you wanted to do in the top corner and try to figure out a plan to get there slowly. And then once you figure it out with one dog, start implementing it with a bunch of dogs. You might have to change the little bit about it, for each individual. But for the most part, you could set this standard, like of what you want your dogs to do. Like, I want all mine to flirt pole. I want them all to tug of war. I want them all to spring pole. I want them all to run the email. Just these certain things, like. And if a dog don't do it, that's not going to make me get rid of the dog for that. You know what I mean? Like, if I was to get a dog from anybody in the comments as of right now, that is not going to make me not want to do it. You know what I mean? Not want to keep the dog just because he won't run my email. Well, I mean, they could have never, ever been on an email for many generations. So I'm the first one showing them this tool. I take that into consideration. How many generations has their family been introduced to some of these things? Mine have been running the email for like 4 and 5 generations now. So when I put them on at a young age, most of them will just do it. LaQuentin, what's up, bro? How you doing? Welsh, what's up, bro? Let's see. Bad Batch, salute. Wes Walker, salute. Tony. Lil J. All the usual suspects. Dickie Foster, what's up, bro? Samurai Canines. Dirty Dog Kennel, what's up, bro? I like that. Yes, sir. The Working Man's Journal, Outlaw Kennels, salute. Yes, sir. So, like, some of these things, we got to think about what we're teaching these dogs to do. Because, I mean, it's going to make a lot of people mad, but there's a lot of people training dogs to quit out in today's world. Is that what's ruining the breed? People not understanding how to train them to keep going? I mean, old guys, what do you think the term conditioning is? Everybody thinks the term conditioning means get their body in peak shape. That is not what you're conditioning them for at all. Like, you're trying to build them up to keep going. And through all these different working environments. So, the definition of conditioning. which everybody say get it in shape. But if you can't read me the real definition, then why do I, you know what I mean? Why do I care? So the process of training or accustoming a person or animal to behave in a certain way or to accept certain circumstances. Where in there does it say anything about the body getting in shape? You know what I mean? We need to start thinking about it like that. Through all this work that you're pushing these dogs through, you're building their mind up, and through their mind being built, they are working at the same time. So that is the body getting into great shape is a natural reaction of the conditioning process. It's not what you're doing. That's the best way I can put it. It's you're not bodybuilding them. You're building their drive up, and through that, their body is going to be, you know what I mean? Their body is going to be in nice shape. Anybody that's been around for long enough will tell you that. If you're focused on, if you go off of a keep by what you're looking at day by day, then that dog ain't going to be as in peak shape as if I took it and put it on a calendar and worked it. It won't. There's no way. If I put it on a work calendar and start doing all these things, at the end of it, that dog will be way more willing to go, and it'll be way more willing to not stop under pressure. Not because I'm building its body up. That's why I'm not a big proponent for 5-hour long walks and shit like that. Certain things, I don't do them because each dog up here, I can't put them all on the same slate. You know what I'm saying? Each dog up here, I know where they're at stage wise. Like, could I take Jarvis out and walk him 5 hours? Yes, he will be just fine. He's already mentally there. You know what I mean? Haywood, he would be just fine. Fearless, Duchess, they would be just fine. Rogue, you know what I mean? They're all at that mental part. But if I started out just doing that, they might not would like it. You know what I mean? Because they haven't really been built up to that. So, like, if I was going to walk one, I used to just walk them like a half mile when they were real young. When they were 12, 14 weeks old, I just walk them a half mile up the road and back. And that's a long ways for little bitty legs. A half mile ain't shit to us, but that dog will be a little tired by the time it gets back. And you praising it and certain things like that. And sometimes I would walk them down the road and then put them on the mill for a minute and talk to them. And they don't understand that time clock because they're so young. So they're just like, heck yeah, we just worked. Now we're going to do a different type of work. Implementing, kind of like Big A has talked about doing around the world, right? I do around the world sometimes with the dogs, just so they don't get tired of one specific activity. Each one of these tools I'm using builds their mind up. And that is my goal. Their body, it'll come. That's why, like, I can't adjust, you know what I mean? Like, my keeps written, and you can't just say, well, hell, he needs more water today, so I'm going to give him like 4 more cups of water. You can't do that, or it'll break him where he's going to be at in 3 days. They might not look like you want them to look 5 days out from the show, but them last 5 days, they're going to really come around. It's certain things, and I just use the number 5 ain't, you know what I mean? But there's certain things that just, you got to think about what you're doing here. If you think you can work your dogs like that, come up here and we'll see how much you can work like that. You know, I have a more deeper understanding of working ability because working on with my dog yard up here, it's harder than it ever was on my other yard. Like, I'm walking up hills and down hills, carrying 2 50-pound bags of food up a 30-degree grade, all about a half mile. Like, certain things like that, when I first started doing it, I had to quit about halfway and take a breath. Now I can walk all the way to the top with 2 50-pound bags of dog food. So I've built myself up to where I'm stronger and I'm mentally stronger. I don't have to. Yeah, do I want to stop midway to take that breath? Yeah, but am I going to? No, because I know I can keep going. That's me conditioning my mind. When I first moved up here, I was dealing with asthma real bad. I'm not anymore. My asthma has been really, really under control for the last probably 6 months. I'm pretty proud of that because I've been doing certain things to make that, a reaction. If me and Big A would have started working out 6 months ago, God Almighty, you talk about making fun of me. But I couldn't breathe. I would have been gassed out. You know what I mean? Now I can breathe a hell of a lot better, so I can go a lot longer. The biggest, okay, so here, we'll even talk about this. Your dog's breathing, right? Whenever they're working. Um, if you're working them in hot environments, they're breathing that hot air in that's not cooling them off. You know what I'm saying? At young ages, we're talking about a young age. So you start their working at midsummer when it's really hot, they can't breathe. They're gonna quit if they cannot breathe. That'll be the fastest thing they quit over. If they feel like they just can't get enough oxygen. Uh, some dogs will breathe like real heavy and long, and some dogs will pant like fast. And the ones that pant really fast, yes, they're cooling themselves off faster, but it's also harder to cool and calm the breathing down. So your lungs get exhausted. You know what I mean? Look at how your dogs pant and stuff. And you can also see what stage they're at in their working out, whether or not, you know what I mean? They can, and some in understanding these stages are knowing when a dog's gonna quit, when it's tired, when you need to stop it. Uh, that is the only thing you can change in a keep, to me, throughout the keep, is how long you work it. You can't add more food and you can't add more water based on its looks that day. You know what I mean? That I can't do that. I can't. That changes the variability. In the next 3 days, that motherfucker might run hot because I gave it too much water or too much food 3 days ago. You know what I mean? People don't think about it that way, but it's true. I weigh the food. I know how much water they drink. It's very consistent. So it don't matter if I condition Jarvis right here. If I bring Kaiser up here in 6 months, I haven't had him for like a little over a year now. And he'll do the same thing. I'll be able to get him right in, bam, right there, right in shape. So I'm about to start all this I'm talking about. I'm going to implement on my YouTube channel with my Wyatt dog. He's not been worked a whole lot. You know what I mean? He's done his fair share of flirt pole and all that stuff. But I'm about to really implement that with my Wyatt dog. He's a year and a half old. He's Tiffany's dog, actually, my fiance. But I'm going to start implementing it and show it off in real time. You know what I mean? So that you can see these telltale signs. I'm going to go live and run him on the mills and talk about what you're seeing. I'm going to ask questions in the chat like, oh, which leg do you see him favoring the most and stuff like that. What's his tongue doing? Through some of these things. Yes, I'm going to give away a lot of game. People's going to fucking hate me for it. But at the same time, like, building better people through building better dogs, like Dre says, we can do that, you know? That is what I feel like the mission statement is for the Shogun Army. I don't know if that's the truth, but that's what I feel. So, like, teaching people is not going to hurt me at all. It just makes the competition I'm competing against a lot better, and I'm fine with that. Just like we'll say Todd Green, you know, he could give away a ton of stuff. His dogs look phenomenal all the time. So like, I had to yell at her because she's talking. But yeah, I don't know. Certain people like that, they might start giving free game too. I don't care. It's not gonna hurt me. I want to see people succeed. That's the whole point in this breed. Like we can succeed. Us people wanting to see people fail too much in today's world. Like that's what they almost click on your shit just to see you fail. And that's not. I mean, I don't know when men change from we're all doing things in life to we want to watch people fail. I really don't. I don't understand it. Like whenever I see my brothers out here, you know, and I'm not talking about my blood brothers. I got blood brothers, but I'm talking about my bulldog brothers. You know what I mean? When I see them out here. Like we'll say, like even you know, me and Pitwise, we've had a little bit of a disagreement on something. But when I see him succeed, congratulations, bro! You're putting that work in. You're showing dedication. Congratulations. That's all I can say. Like hell yeah, I'll share it. I'll share it to my group. You know, the Show Dog Journal. I have a group for these dogs on Facebook. If you're interested in checking it out, you can join it. Put your dogs in there. Put pictures in there. Join the chat, stuff like that. I love to see people's success. So, because like, and I have a thing for the underdog, right? I don't know why. I was bullied as a kid, so I kind of have a thing for the underdog. I want to see the underdog win. If if you put Jeep up against the fucking Tom's dog over, or not Tom Garner, but Jack's dog over there, and I don't even know who Jack's dog is, I'm liable to root for Jack's dog just because everybody in there in the damn building is rooting for Jeep. You know what I mean? I love Jeep dogs, but I'm just saying, like, I'm liable to do that because, and even if he loses, hell yeah, I always have. And like, where you see yourself at in some of this stuff, like, I see myself as an underdog, you know what I mean? I ain't shit compared to Tom. I ain't shit compared to Bulldog Barn. I don't have a yard of 200-300, you know, but like, I'm still pushing, you know what I mean? I'm never gonna quit. That's my thing for the underdog. My obsession. I just love it. I'm gonna tell a story on my YouTube channel about the underdog in my local area. I don't want to talk about it on here, but so like all these dogs and people going through tons of dogs, I think they're just impatient and they don't understand the step-by-step process of getting the end result. A game dog, having a bulldog, a game bred dog at the end of it, you know what I mean? Not only did its family have an unwillingness to quit, but now it does too. So it's carrying on that lineage, that legacy. That's all I strive for out of all this stuff. I want my dogs to be what my dad's dogs were, my mom's dogs when I was young. I want to never lose that. And like, I was scared of losing it right when I mixed the two. I was scared of losing one over the other. I was scared of one overriding the other and me losing one to the practice that I use. But as I've done these breedings and mixed them, I realized like I didn't lose either. You know what I mean? I mixed them and made something just as good, if not better. And like that was one factor like that I've always kept in mind. Like, be open-minded enough to do things and see the actual result before you make a judgment. Oh, we almost at the hour mark, Big A.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so like,
got about 5 minutes or so.
oh, these puppies have started wandering around out here now.
No, get back,
Get your
Michelle.
butts in there. Yeah, so like, as we're doing these things, like I said, take and write out a little step by step what you want your dog to hit. Reach them goals. Literally check them off as you're doing them. That will help you have a dog that's willing to go a lot longer in the end. Study some of these definitions, and you might not be able to Google the definition. You might have to call an old dogman. That's why, like, on Schoolboy, I love listening to that guy Mr. Gray talk, because like, he come from a different time. I didn't live in that time, so like, hearing him talk, it's almost like being in a time machine. He tells stories really good, so it's like, it takes me back. I can almost picture him as he's talking. You know what I mean? And that helps a lot, listening to some of these old guys and their methods they used for getting dogs to keep going. That's why I like the Schoolboy keep. Buy it, try it. There's lists of keeps on the internet. You know what I mean? You can buy tons of keeps. The one I see of shared a bunch is the Cadillac method of conditioning, I believe is what he calls it. I don't own it, but I would like to, just to see what it says. I might buy some of these keeps and not even do them just to see what they say. They might have a different perception on certain things. None of us know everything. None of us. We're all learning. We're all living for the first time. So just take in all the information you can. That's what I love about this breed. Not only is there a ton of information for your hundreds of years to take in, but like, people are still living it, doing it to this day, like taking care of dogs, going to dog shows, hog hunting. They're still living the lifestyle of a bulldogger. You know what I mean? So it's just important. It's just important to do your fair share of research and take everything that everybody says, take what's valuable to you, and just discard the rest for a little while. And then it might, what they said that didn't mean nothing to you before, in 6 months, you might be like, well, shit, I watched that one video and he said this already. And like, now it's relevant to you. It's easy to dismiss things until it's relevant to you. And then, oh, well, that's like this, you know what I mean? So it's got to kind of be open to all kinds of stuff. Really taking in info. I'm like, be careful who you're listening to info to. If you're going to be competing against some of these people in show rings and stuff, do not listen to them. I wouldn't, because they might be trying to, you know, especially like with some of these like more higher prestigious, you know, show rings, they're not going to be fair with you. They're not going to be trying to help you out. They all they care about is, because they paying big money to show these dogs, so all they care about is winning. They might give you good advice, but they might leave out a certain key point of it, what they should have stressed enough. Certain things like that. Just in this game, trust a lot of people, but be careful who you trust. That's what I can say. Trust a lot of people, all the good ones, but then be careful who you trust too. Because people might switch. Let's see. Now, Doctor, what's up, bro? Oh, Supreme's in here. Hell yeah. What you gonna do, run my show? Oh yeah, she getting it. I'm definitely buying myself one of them meals. Everybody I see using one of them things, man, they look good. They look really good. And I want one for indoor. I'm building my 2 outdoor ones, but I want one for indoors when it's raining and shit. I can put them on it and I don't have to worry as much. Because like my office, it's going to have 2 whelping kennels in it where they can have puppies in there. I can have 2 litters at one time in my office. And like inside the office will be the whelping boxes, and outside will have the kennels. I'm going to have that. There'll be a desk in there. I'm going to have a TV with all my bulldog stuff where I can watch it. If you come up, like, you won't go in my house to sign papers. Like, I'm going to not do that. You'll come around into my office. And in my office, out front of it, it's going to have, like, treadmills and my email and then a carpet mill. That's where I'm going to keep them 3 equipment in the front of my office. That way I can work a dog on it individually. So, like, being able to do some of these certain things is really going to push me forward. Like, having that mill like that thing is nice, dude. I love watching her run on it. And look, Big A just talking to her, telling her to slow down. That's that bond I'm talking about. I love watching a dog run that you ain't got to put something in front of it. You can just talk to it. Yep. That's almost having an old school relationship with your dog, being able to just talk to them and them work accordingly. Like, if I say the word work to Jarvis on that mill, he'll run harder. If I, like, at the show when he's running, I can tell him, like, I'm gonna run him again. I mean, I'm gonna try him from now on. Keep entering him, see if he does better the next time. You know what I mean? He wasn't even in shape when I ran him this last time, so I'm gonna put him in shape like I had him for the digital dog show Saturday, and we're gonna see how good he really does. Put a little pressure.
Man. Yeah, man. Elevated.
Yes, sir.
Hey, that was a good show, man.
Appreciate you.
Sir. Yeah, we coming up on the end, man. Yeah. What's up with the show dog journal?
So my plastic sleeves are here. I'm cutting the last bit of my stickers, and then I'm going to be able to mail everything out.
Gotcha.
I'm making the stickers myself. So
yeah,
taking
man,
a little
that's
bit.
what's up.
Yeah, and so like whenever you pick it, I want to have enough on hand to where people, when they go to doing it, I can just start mailing them out. And as I'm doing it, I won't be backed up like, oh, you got to wait for me to put it together, you know, like the package, because it'll have the magazine in it. It's gonna have the paper in it to where like you could subscribe to the next one if you want to, but you can do it online too. So, but I'm just gonna put it in there anyways because I already have them printed and cut out, and then I'm gonna have the sticker in there too. I come up with a logo as soon as I deliver the first one. We're gonna put Show Dog Journal shirts up. I got a logo for it that I'm gonna use. So pretty excited. It's gonna be cool. I'm already writing the second one. Honestly, by the time some people subscribe, you know, eventually they'll be getting 1 and 2 right there. You know, they'll have the option of getting 1 and 2, and then it's gonna be on schedule. That one company fucked me, dude. They screwed me over. So, nah.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of like a logo right? I hit him up every year to make my pig picking shirts. That's why I started making my own. So I got shit to make my own. Because I hit this guy up. He made them for 2 years for me. But then all of a sudden, like, he just quit answering the phone. Like, and he's a business in town. So I'm just like, all right, I won't use you then. I'll start making them myself.
Yeah, man. Y'all know what's up, man. We got Men at Work coming up next. And we got that digital dog show on the weekend, 9:30 Central. Like Mr. CEO say. Yeah, also we got Dog of the Week coming up. And you know, got some good shots in already, man. Yeah, man. If you ain't a member, I don't know what you're doing, man. Come on, get down with this movement, man. We making moves over here, man, slowly but surely. Yeah, and where can they find you at, Elevated?
Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the above is Elevated Kennels. What's up, Pups?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Y'all know what it is. All them pups coming around, huh?
Yeah, they doing good.
Yeah,
They doing good. They
man.
starting to wander around a little bit.
Yeah.
The Dirty Girl pups and the Eleanor pups are starting to move. My Mercy litter, they're just a little bitty. They're only a few days old.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
There's a couple available, 2 or 3 males. That's it. Anybody's interested, the best place to hit me up is Facebook Messenger.
Yeah. Whoa. 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 No. Whoa. Yeah, man. I'm gonna go ahead and work this dog for the next 5 minutes or so, and then get the men at work. You know.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So you ready? You ready for the work? You ready? Yeah, man. Whoa. Yeah,
see, I
man,
like that you can talk to her.
Oh yeah, man. I could if I wanna really get her heart rate up, I'll lower her. But shit, we could do this whole workout with nothing.
So she'll do both. You can bait her and you can talk to her.
Yeah. Watch.
Okay.
Watch.
Cool.
She like this. She got style just doing a walk. So you ready to go? Let's work. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Whoa. Like that. You know what I'm saying?
If you go to a dog show again, you better enter her in a race.
Right.
And even if she don't win, man, people will see how you have that reaction with her, and they're gonna be like, "Damn!" Like it sets an example for what you're able to do. Because most people get out there with the bait. Most people start out with the bait, and I've never even seen too many dogs win that way.
Yeah, man. Nah, she cool, man. She do the do, man. And Like, and then you know, I do the countdown to work on a torque. A lot of people,
Yep.
well, I mean, just focusing on the torque, man. That jump mean a lot, man, because you don't know what kind of slab mill you're gonna be on, if it's gonna have some resistance or not.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, that first little that initial dig, man, that dig count. And you can see
Yep.
it like, you know, when you do your flirt codes and stuff like that, you know, when they doing their cuts and stuff like that, they actually planting and pivoting kind of hard, you know,
Yeah.
almost dangerous, like, yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah, man. But
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
definitely
man.
buying me one of them mills. 100%.
Yeah, yeah, man.
100%.
Yeah, man. My daughter
Between you
yeah,
and Dre, y'all convinced me.
I've always okay. So I've always wanted a slab mill, never had one. So my mentor was like, "You don't need a slab mill. The bike could do." So I got accustomed to working the bike.
Yeah.
So you know, as I got older and mature, and I'm at this stage, and you know, capable of doing it, Dre was the first one to do it, and then I just jumped on the bandwagon. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, and I'm about to too.
yeah, man. But my next, whoa, whoa. My next mission is to get a carpet mill, and you know,
You gonna buy one pre-made, or you gonna make it yourself?
well, you know, I'm about to have another dog soon,
Uh-huh.
so uh, it's either me getting another slab mill or another or getting a carpet mill and then changing them. Uh, you know, one of the best things you can kind of prep for and prepare for is to try to set yourself up to be able to work multiple dogs at one time.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know, because time is already constricted as it is, man. So, you know,
Yep.
just spending the right time with them,
So I
you
got a
know.
question.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen Mad Dog's mills he uses?
No, I'll go look it up. I'll go
I'll
look at
send
it.
you a link after this to the
Yeah,
website right where it is. So it's kind of like a mix between a carpet mill and a slat mill. It's
yeah.
the way they run them. It's not got as much resistance like a normal carpet mill, but like,
Hmm.
dude, I want one so bad. I'll send you a video later. You can check
Yeah,
it out.
please send me one, man, because I'm in the process of looking for my next piece of equipment.
And I mean,
You
if
know.
you were interested in buying a top notch piece of equipment from a
No,
legend,
I'm not interested in spending top dollar.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
I mean, I
I'm
don't
not
know
in
what
that
he charges
condition.
for them. I don't have a
Yeah,
clue what he charges for them, but I know that he's a legend and they're fucking nice. I don't know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I don't know what he charges.
Nah, I'll definitely look into it, man. But
Okay.
at this point in time, man, money funny, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, this is the way I look at certain things like this is an investment because
Yeah.
right now it's thunder and lightning outside. Even if I wanted to go running and get some road work in, it would be under dire need. So having these things in certain situations, man, is definitely a better opportunity when you have when the elements and circumstances and situations are against you.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then for somebody like your situation,
Mhm.
that can make or break your program. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Being able to, you know, get them in condition, you know, on
Yep.
the yard. So, you know, yeah,
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely limitations. People drive on my road like fucking idiots. I'm honestly scared to death of getting run over walking a dog.
yeah,
And not because I'm
yeah,
scared of getting ran over, because who the hell is going to feed my dogs after I do get ran over?
yeah, man. Come on, we ain't done. We got one more. Yeah, man. But
Yes, sir.
yeah. Let me go on. I'm gonna do this countdown and send us on out. All right.
All right, bro.
All right. Let me stop this music, man.
Time to
All
clock
right.
in.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Beat drop, slow, head, not flow.
it's that old yellow line. Sack it from the south, Michonne on the rise. Boogeyman bark, leave a mark every time. We don't breed for clout, we breed for spine. DNA thick, can't clone this pride. That Shogun blood, yeah, the legends don't die. Started with Boogeyman, ghost in the chain, locked in the game, never move for fame. Old mountain lions run deep in the flame. Socket brought the fire, Michonne brought the name. Then came Fat Boy, muscle in the frame. Man, hard, put respect on the name. Shotgun smooth, but the work insane. Sugar sweet jit, but a bite ain't tame. Kiki in the back, had a game in the veins. Gatorade heavy, ran it straight through the rain. Red ninja close, watch him work in the lane. Renegade rider can't hold that chain. Blood don't lie, it's that old yellow line. Socket from the south, Michonne on the rise. Boogeyman bark, leave a mark every time. We don't breed for clout, we breed for spine. DNA thick, can't clone this pride. That Shogun blood, yeah, the legends don't die. Ain't no luck, just grit and grind. Every dog here put work in time. Lady Rage got that fire in her eyes. Red alert taught us how to recognize signs. Blood heavy like a 2-ton chain. Everything proven, no need to explain. They asked what's in it, that yellow campaign. Built off real, we don't fake no strain. Second was the flame, Michonne lit the wick. If you know, then you know that line too slick. From the field to the show, every move so thick you can't blueprint this. It's the legacy pick. Blood don't lie, it's that old yellow line. Sack it from the south, Michonne on the rise. Boogeyman bark, leave a mark every time. We don't breed for clout, we breed for spine. DNA thick, can't clone this pride. That Shogun blood, yeah, the legends don't die.